Hello, it is so good to see you. Welcome. Today I'm so excited that we are workshopping subtext. We're going to walk through what it is, why it matters for your story, and then we're going to practice together. We'll set aside 20 minutes, do some practice, and then we'll check in about it. If we haven't met, I'm Megan. I've been a professional writer since 2017, and I've taught writing since 2021. I've published short fiction, poetry, and a lot of copy. So subtext, I love subtext. It is one of the best ways to show instead of tell, because with subtext, it is all show, no tell. So what the heck is subtext? So we're talking about what is underneath the text that we are reading. What is the implied meaning of what is being said? So there's the text that we read on the page, and then there's what's swimming around underneath it. So for example, we might read a character saying, "I'm fine." But underneath, we know they are not fine. They are so angry. They are disappointed. They're nervous. They're sad. They're saying they're fine. If we took that at face value, we would think that they're fine. But we know different because of subtext. So powerful. I love it. So why is subtext important for your story? Remember, subtext is all show and no tell. So if you're not using subtext, you're telling your reader everything they need to think, feel, experience in the story. You're not giving them any chance to use their imagination, and that's gonna come across really boring. It's gonna come across unimaginative, and it's going to come across as a slap to the face to your reader, like, okay, well, this is no fun. You're telling me everything I need to know. There's nothing for me to wrestle with or think through or wonder about. That's half the fun of reading. They don't want you to tell them everything that they should be thinking or feeling. They want to just feel it. They want to come to conclusions on their own based on how you've written it. Before we practice subtext, I'm going to walk you through a couple of examples so we can see what this actually looks like. So let me pull this up. This is an example from The Great Gatsby. And in this example, just for context, Gatsby has finally gotten up the nerve to invite Daisy, who's his love interest, over for tea. Now Daisy's married to another guy. That's kind of the context you need. But we're going to be looking at subtext through description, and I want you to take note of what stands out to you. So I'm going to put it on the screen. What is the narrator drawing your attention to? What are you feeling? What are you thinking as you read this description? If something comes to mind, just write it down. Don't have to judge it. Doesn't have to be right or wrong. There's no wrong answers here. We're just noticing what stands out to us, okay? So here it is. Gatsby, his hands still in his pockets, was reclining against the mantelpiece in a strained counterfeit of perfect ease, even of boredom. His head leaned back so far that it rested against the face of a defunct mantelpiece clock, and from this position his distraught eyes stared down at Daisy, who was sitting frightened but graceful on the edge of a stiff chair. So I'll give you some time to read it over again. Jot down your thoughts. What stands out to you? How is the word choice communicating a feeling without saying it directly? Here are some things that I wrote down. Hands are still in his pockets, not just hands in his pockets, they're still in his pockets. A strained counterfeit of perfect ease. So he's pretending to be at ease, but it's a strain to do so. Leaned back so far, so not just leaning back, but like really clearly too far. A defunct mantelpiece clock. This one in particular I think is so good because it's not about the people who are in the scene. Frightened but graceful. Stiff chair. So what are the feelings that are coming across without Fitzgerald slapping us over the face with them? There's obviously some direct statements, right? Like Daisy sitting frightened. Okay, like that's more direct, that's more telling. So when we look at this, we don't want to say, oh, the feeling that's coming across is Daisy's frightened, because that's the text, it's not the subtext. So you might think to yourself, well, it tells me how she's feeling. What is underneath what's being said, okay? So for me, I'm getting awkwardness. That's the main feeling that comes across to me is awkward. It's never said Gatsby felt awkward, but it does say he put his hands in his pockets and they were still there. He leaned back so far, like it was uncomfortable. It was a strained counterfeit of perfect ease. Like he is not comfortable. He's feeling awkward. But he's trying to hide it. That's another piece of the subtext. And what's cool about this is the narrator, Nick, is noticing these things clearly, but Gatsby and Daisy don't seem to. And why I love the defunct mantelpiece clock, because I think that's the best line that gives us subtext. Because you can draw some of these conclusions pretty easily, but a defunct mantelpiece clock tells me that time has run out. These two are trying to be together. They're trying to be comfortable together. The clock does not even work anymore. I just think that that's a great symbol or image that you could dig deeper into. There's even a moment later on in the scene where the clock almost shatters. I'm like, come on, symbolism, it's so good. All right, so this example again might seem pretty obvious, like, oh, it was a strained counterfeit of perfect ease, even of boredom. But Gatsby's not bored. He feels awkward. He does not know what to do with himself, right? His distraught eyes. Okay, he's distraught, but what's underneath that? Why is he distraught? What is that telling us about what's going on under the surface that we're not seeing? Daisy's on a stiff chair. All of these word choices are so intentional. And that's what I want you to think about. The way you describe everything should play a role in creating a certain feeling or thought within your reader. So this whole section is written to convey a sense of awkwardness and uncertainty, and time has run out and it's not what it was. Everything down to she was sitting on the edge of a stiff chair. You could just say, Daisy was really frightened and she was sitting on the chair. But it wasn't said that way for a reason. And that's how you work in subtext. You want to give an impression of what's going on without being like, Daisy was frightened, the end. You're using your description to bring to life the deeper experiences that are going on. Let me know if that makes sense, okay? Let's look at another example. This is from Hills Like White Elephants by Ernest Hemingway. And it's one of the well-beloved subtext examples out there. And we're going to look at subtext through dialogue this time. So this is a short story where essentially a couple is sitting at a table having a conversation. That's the whole story. Like before, I'll put it on the screen. And again, just jot down anything that stands out to you. Word choice. Think about the choice of the words being used. Anything that catches your eye. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. What is the narrator drawing your attention to? Is it clear what they're talking about? It's really an awfully simple operation, Jig, the man said. It's not really an operation at all. The girl looked at the ground the table legs rested on. I know you wouldn't mind it, Jig. It's really not anything. It's just to let the air in. The girl did not say anything. I'll go with you and I'll stay with you all the time. They just let the air in and then it's all perfectly natural. Then what will we do afterward? We'll be fine afterward, just like we were before. What makes you think so? That's the only thing that bothers us. It's the only thing that's made us unhappy. So I'll give you a few minutes to read through that again. Write down anything that stands out to you. Any questions that come to mind. What I love about this little snippet is that we get an idea of what they're talking about generally, but not specifically. It's an operation, but we don't know what kind. It could be getting her wisdom teeth out, or it could be open heart surgery. We have no idea. So right away, you know there's more beneath the surface than we are getting in the text. There's subtext to be mined. And then what do you think is the impact of her saying nothing? At first she looks at the ground, she does not say anything. Actually, it's funny to me too, what stood out to me, one thing was, she looked at the ground the table legs rested on. What? It's not just she looked at the ground. She looked at the ground the table legs rested on, as opposed to the rest of the ground. What do you think about that? I love that. Makes me ponder things. Then, her question of, what will we do afterward? It seems like it could mean literally, what will we do once the operation is over? Kind of like practically or logistically. But he answers it figuratively. What will we do then? We'll be fine. He answers it more generally. It's not literally, well, we will all take you back home from the hospital and we'll get you all set up in bed and you'll rest. He says, oh no, we together, we will be fine. He knew she meant, what will we do as a couple after that? How will it affect our relationship? And he was answering that question. He knew the subtext of her question and answered it. So good. It's so good. This is a dialogue masterclass. If you haven't read this short story, go read it. It'll probably make you want to pull your hair out because you're like, what are they talking about? It's been a debate for a long time, although there is a consensus that they're talking about something specific. But I'll leave that to you so I don't spoil anything if you haven't read it. But anyway, this is a dialogue masterclass because this is how a couple would really talk. Whenever you're thinking about showing versus telling in dialogue especially, which I would argue is the most important place to not tell. You do not want to tell in your dialogue because it comes across as so fake. Unless a character really does not know information and another character is conveying that to them, that's one thing. But typically what I see a lot is writers will use dialogue to convey information between characters that they already know. For instance, if this couple was like, well, you know I have my operation coming up. Gee, yeah, that's right, Jig, you told me it was on Thursday. Like, they already know that, so they're not going to say it to each other. So that's why this is a great example of dialogue and subtext within dialogue, because it's not explaining, it's giving an impression. Dialogue is one of the more difficult things to get feeling natural, especially if you're not kind of out socializing regularly and noticing the ways people speak and the different quirks and idiosyncrasies they use in their language. If you're not taking that in, it's really hard to write natural dialogue, and it's especially hard to write dialogue like this where there's a lot of subtext. All right, so if you have a question, let me know. As we jump into practice time, I'm going to make things really simple. What I want you to do is write a conversation between two people, not unlike what we saw in Hills Like White Elephants. And these two characters are arguing, but they're not actually saying anything about the real issue. So what I want you to do is pick two characters, give them an issue, determine for yourself what they're actually arguing about, and then write a scene where they're arguing, but they're not mentioning that at all. So you can lean into dialogue a whole lot here if you want. You can write the whole thing in dialogue, but I would also challenge you to write at least 1 or 2 sentences of description that are aimed at conveying what the real issue is without telling us directly. As you're writing, do not expect it to be perfect. This is not about getting an A+ and a gold star. This is not about getting it right on your first try. I want you to just have fun, play, try something. If you think it doesn't work, try something else. All right? It's not a test. It's not homework. You can share it in the comments after if you want. You absolutely do not have to. It's a good idea to do that though, so you can know whether or not you hit the mark. But that's completely up to you. Okay, so let me get all set up here. I'll set us a timer for 20 minutes, and then once that's over, we will check in and see how it went. All right? Okay, checking in. How did that go? What was easier than you expected? What was harder than you expected? Do you feel like you were able to write with subtext? Are you like, this is still confusing? I don't know how to tell if I've done it. I'm so glad you decided to take a stab at it. Subtext is not easy. It is really something that you have to practice and you have to get other eyes on to make sure that you're implying the thing that you're trying to imply and that it's coming across without coming across too obviously. So like I said earlier, if you want, put your scene in the comments and I would love to guess what you were trying to imply. Second option, let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this workshop. Was this helpful for you? Would you like to see more workshops like this in the future? Let me know. And if you liked this video, I think these would be helpful for you as well. And I will see you next time. Happy writing.